In the last episode, Joseph rose to prominence in Potiphar's house, only to be falsely accused and thrown into prison. There he interpreted the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. The cupbearer was restored but forgot Joseph. 2 years passed. Joseph remained in the dungeon, forgotten by men but not by God. Now Pharaoh has a dream. He is standing by the Nile when 7 cows, sleek and fat, come up out of the river and graze among the reeds. Then 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, come up and stand beside them on the riverbank. The ugly, gaunt cows eat up the 7 sleek, fat cows. Pharaoh wakes up. He falls asleep again and has a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, are growing on a single stalk. Then 7 other heads of grain sprout, thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallow up the 7 healthy, full heads. Pharaoh wakes up. It was a dream. In the morning, his mind is troubled. He sends for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. He tells them his dreams, but no one can interpret them. Then the chief cupbearer finally speaks. "Today I am reminded of my shortcomings. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. Each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. A young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us." Pharaoh sends for Joseph. He is quickly brought from the dungeon. He shaves, changes his clothes, and comes before Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, "I had a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." Joseph answers, "I cannot do it, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." Pharaoh tells Joseph both dreams. Joseph says to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up afterward are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. They are 7 years of famine. It is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now, let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. The plan seems good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. Pharaoh says to them, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh says to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." Pharaoh takes his signet ring from his finger and puts it on Joseph's finger. He dresses him in robes of fine linen and puts a gold chain around his neck. He has him ride in a chariot as his second in command, and people shout before him, "Make way!" Joseph is 30 years old when he enters the service of Pharaoh. He travels throughout Egypt, storing grain during the 7 years of abundance. Then the famine begins, just as Joseph predicted. There is famine in all the other lands, but in Egypt there is food. When all Egypt begins to feel the famine, the people cry to Pharaoh for food. Pharaoh tells them, "Go to Joseph and do what he tells you." The famine spreads to all the world. People from all countries come to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. In Canaan, Jacob hears there is grain in Egypt. He says to his sons, "Why do you just keep looking at each other? Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die." 10 of Joseph's brothers go down to Egypt. But Jacob does not send Benjamin, Joseph's only full brother, because he fears harm might come to him. The brothers come and bow down before Joseph with their faces to the ground. Joseph recognizes them, but he pretends to be a stranger. "Where do you come from?" "From the land of Canaan to buy food." Joseph remembers his dreams about them. He accuses them of being spies. They protest their innocence and mention their youngest brother at home and the one who is no more. Joseph tests them. He keeps Simeon as a hostage and sends the others home with grain, telling them to bring their youngest brother back to prove they are honest men. They return to Jacob and tell him everything. Jacob is distressed. "You have deprived me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is against me." But the famine grows severe. Eventually, Jacob has no choice. He sends Benjamin with his brothers to Egypt. When Joseph sees Benjamin, he is deeply moved. He turns away and weeps. Then he prepares a feast for them. After more testing, Joseph can no longer control himself. He sends everyone out of the room except his brothers. Then he weeps so loudly that the Egyptians hear him. Joseph says to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" His brothers are terrified. They cannot answer. Joseph says, "Come close to me. I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God." He throws his arms around Benjamin and weeps. He kisses all his brothers and weeps over them. Pharaoh hears the news and is pleased. He tells Joseph to bring his father and family to Egypt, where they will enjoy the best of the land. Jacob hears that Joseph is alive. His spirit revives. Israel says, "I am convinced. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Jacob travels to Egypt with his entire family, 70 people in all. Joseph goes to meet his father in Goshen. He throws his arms around him and weeps for a long time. Israel says to Joseph, "Now I am ready to die, since I have seen for myself that you are still alive." Jacob settles in Egypt. He blesses Pharaoh. He blesses his sons with prophetic words. And at the age of 147, he breathes his last. Joseph weeps over his father. He has him embalmed and taken back to Canaan to be buried in the cave of Machpelah with Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, and Leah. After Jacob's death, the brothers fear that Joseph will take revenge. But Joseph reassures them. "Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." Joseph lives to see the 3rd generation of his children. Before he dies, he says to his brothers, "I am about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Then Joseph makes them swear an oath. "God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place." Joseph dies at the age of 110. He is embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt. The book of Genesis ends with a coffin in Egypt and a promise unfulfilled. But the story is far from over. The God who created the heavens and the earth, who called Abraham, who wrestled with Jacob, who raised Joseph from the pit to the palace, will keep his word. One day, the descendants of Abraham will leave Egypt. They will carry Joseph's bones with them, and they will enter the land God promised. This is the end of Genesis, but it is only the beginning of the story of redemption. Thank you for listening to this final episode of the Creation and Patriarch series. If this journey through Genesis has been meaningful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing these videos with others. The story continues. In the next series, we will follow Moses and the Exodus as God delivers his people from slavery and reveals himself at Mount Sinai.